K. Chowdhury also to help me moderate the format of the discussion that today I want to keep is because we have two eminent speakers. So I would request them to speak first with Professor Chowdhury, and then we will come to principals.
Yes,
So Professor Chowdhury, would you like to start and speak, and then maybe we can come to our...
Let me listen to everyone first. I'll speak last.
Okay.
I have my Chancellor and Mr. Reddy is there. Thank you, Dhrubajyoti, for being here today. Good to see you again. So I would begin by requesting my Chancellor, Professor Samit Ray, a man with more than 3.5 decades of experience in education, of creating RISE group of educational institutes all across Bengal and even outside Bengal in our Northeast. And now for the last 7 years, Adamas University, 6 years, Adamas University has been doing wonders in Bengal. And not just because he's our chancellor, I must say,
online learning resources in their classrooms, and mainly
now for the last 7 years, Adamas University, 6 years, Adamas University has been doing wonders in Bengal. And not just because he's our chancellor, I must say,
online learning resources in their classrooms, and mainly
now for the last 7 years, Adamas University, 6 years, Adamas University has been doing wonders in Bengal. And not just because he's our chancellor,
online learning resources in their classrooms, and mainly
now for the last 7 years, Adamas University, 6 years, Adamas University has been doing wonders in Bengal. And not just because he's our chancellor,
online learning resources in their classrooms, and mainly
now for the last 7 years, Adamas University, 6 years for educationists who are in this panel today and for their learners. Over to Professor Samit Ray, Chancellor, Adamas University.
Yes, I am very much honored to have you with all the and all the principal also, and all the faculty. Yes, we are thinking in the different way. COVID-19 maybe the negative part also, and also we have the positive part also. I am in the education during the last 35 years. Especially, we have started rice educations. We train the students who are very much interested to join as a bureaucrat, right? In different organizations. They generally come to us at the age of 22 to 30 years, right? So during the last 35 years, I'm very much associated with those group of students whose dream is very, very high at the age of 22 and 23. Most of the students try to join any brokerage services. At the same time, want to establish their life also. Due to their sincerity and with the help of the tremendous labor, passions, only 50% students become the successful at the end of that course. But my observation is that the 50% student who fail, they have the wish, they're very passionate to get the success, but there is some gap. I will not blame the teachers, I will not blame to the government, I will not blame for the infrastructures, lack of infrastructures, but at the end of the days, 40 to 50% students is unproductive. They are not at a position to crack any all India exams. You are very much aware about these things. When there are the vacancy of 1,000 students, 1,000 employees, generally 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs students apply to sit that examinations. So what is the reasons? Reasons, our teacher is honest. Our education process is strong process. But after the 70 years independence of India, till today, there is no audit of academic. Only the Indian people are very much aware about the audit of finance. But now we have to develop the audit system in education also. What is the definitions of that audit? Because yes, one student or two students is very much talented in the class 1, 2, 3, up to 5. But one fine morning, we discovered the age of 16 or 17, whether in the class 8 or 9, that student or that boy or girl is not good in mathematics, not good in English. But there is no way to recover or to repair the career. Because already, for the lack of 2 to 3 years, already damage has been done. So if 130 crores people's country, if we want to make the most of the productive Indian, what is the basic difference between the China and India? China based on the manufacturing industry, but the India knowledge-based country. Most of the countries of the world are believing and discussing that yes, India and the China, one of the country will be the powerful country during the next 1 decades. So what is the mystery? What is the chemistry? India is a knowledge-based country. The past history of the Nalanda also, and a large number of Indian people are very efficient doctors and the scientists in all over the world. So India will not be the primarily manufactured country which help us to make our the powerful country. So knowledge is the main weapons. Knowledge will help us to make our country one of the powerful country during the next 2 decades. Truly, the ex-president said India will be one of the most powerful country during the next 2 decades. So what is the weapons, that the knowledge? So 130 crores people will be productive if we can start the academic audit. So then every student will be productive. So it is possible to audit all the students only in a classrooms. One teachers or one faculty will get chance to take classes 45 minutes to 1 hours to train the students to get the classes only within the 60 minutes. It is not possible. So private tuition, class tuition, all will be run side by side. But the unproductive students will produce more and more in the next decades. So yes, we had one problem because most of the Indian people were not in a position to believe that yes, online education also is possible. Every time, most of the guardians, it is not the blame to the guardians because most of the guardians are the first generation guardians, and our students is the second generation learner. It is quite okay. But lockdown period, this 60 days, gave the opportunity to transform the mind of the parents and the students. Yes, we are also able to take the opportunity, the education system on online digital platform. And you know it very well. There are too many reports, the back office, when we are using the Windows or the Microsoft different packages. So we are getting the one report, number of students attending these things, this percentage, number of students spending their time in their classrooms. At the same time, if you take the examination also, there are the Excel sheet, the back of that platform. Yes, this section of the students in mathematics, not only the mathematics, which chapter, and what is the reasons. He is weak in the calculations, he is weak in the logics, you will look weak in the thought process. I think we have to think in that way, in that deep depth. Physical uh, judgment, the maintain of the environment, to maintain the everything is one of the challenge. But at the same time, as an educationist, we have to think how we will segregate, how we will find that group of students, and then we will take the time to repair their career, because career always a design. We have to design that career. So I think this is one of the perspective area we can take care and which help us to make all the students of the Indian student productive. At the same time, that no, yes, mainly our education until today, only we are transforming our the knowledge. Yes, but transforming knowledge is not the sufficient. We have to make the Nobel Prize winners. How it is possible? We have to make them more innovators. Yes, most of the people of the world also believing that India will be one of the most maximum innovation destination. So why? Who will innovate? Innovate is a definition. Innovation is a word, but whose mind? How we will transform the mind of the student, which help us to make the innovation more. So I think this is a blessing of the that the COVID-19. So we are all educationist people. We will form the policy. Yes, unfortunately, uh, our government when make the policy, only they consist 2 to 3 people and make a cell and then make the education policy. Yes, there is no research data. So I think in futures, most of the private university and institute will take an important role to make that education policy how we can make our the students productive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That gives a very good introduction to what post-COVID education and the role of the private education also in the new normal shall be. And that gives a starting point. And sir, if you could spend some time more and take some questions a little later. We have Mr. Vipul Redey with us, who heads the Khan Academy operations in India. And I would like to request Vipulji, because Khan Academy has been doing a fabulous work. I have seen some of the videos and the courses which have been forwarded to me by some students when we were doing some research, and fabulous content that they have for particularly school students, even to make mathematics and science in simple videos and simple content, simple, easy, understandable content. Khan Academy has shown international standards. So, Vipulji, if you could speak about how the school education of tomorrow shall be in the new normal, where we are moving to a physical plus digital, a sort of a phygital learning environment, which will not be neither purely physical nor perhaps purely digital. Just today, there is a news item that the schools may be asked to only allow a particular student for 100 days on campus. That means it is around 230 days now. It will be less than, it will be 40% of what it is now. That means it will be, as you have in a multiplex, time slotting, similarly, students will have slots of days. So there could be many things which we don't know just now. We don't know what exactly would be the scenario, because physical distancing has to be maintained and there has to be homeschooling also. Once upon a time, online education, distance education, and homeschooling were considered to be derogatory, something inferior. It is no more case now. It is going to be a blended education, which I call physical plus digital. Over to Vipul Reddy to explain how Khan Academy does what it does and what's your prescription for school education moving ahead. Vipul Reddy ji, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Chowdhury. And thank you for that, for the newly coined term about digital. I've never heard of that one before. And so that definitely is a landmarker. So
Vipulji, we survive in the industry by coining new jargon. So that's new jargon for you.
keep up the good work. So I guess thank you for those questions. I think those are very valid questions that you've asked, sir. And just to basically talk about where we are going, I think I'd have to do a very quick recap of where we've been so far. So as an organization, Khan Academy has been around for about 10 plus years. You probably are aware of the background story, but just to give a quick recap for if you haven't. It started off when a gentleman by the name of Salman Khan, not the one with the big biceps, but actually a different person with much better, I guess, psyche and better driving skills, decided that his niece failed a maths exam, and she lived on the opposite coast of the United States to him, and so the family basically really came down on him in a big way and said that you really need to help your niece. It doesn't work that someone like you, so he's a Harvard MBA, he's got 3 degrees from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And so someone like you has a niece who's flunking a math exam. That's not okay. And so it started off with, him trying to tutor her over the phone. And that was not very convenient. And so he's decided that he's going to start to record videos on this new website that was coming up then called YouTube. And YouTube had this format restriction that you could only put videos of about 5 minutes or so. And so that's what he would do. He would record these short 5-minute videos at his convenience, and his niece would consume them at her convenience. 3 things that he saw coming out of that experience. One, that his niece actually preferred the digital version of him versus the phone or the physical version of him, because she could rewind, replay as many times as she needed to at her convenience, and that worked well. The second thing that he saw was that in the beginning, there was just one person viewing his videos, his niece. And then there were 10, and then there were 100. At this point in time, when he actually goes online, there's usually his videos will get 1 million hits fairly quickly. The third thing that he saw was the feedback that he started getting. So if you've looked at, any YouTube commentary, usually that's like the gutter of human instincts that's right there, where you basically get like the most base instincts expressed in words over there. And the only feedback that he was getting was sort of effusive gratitude from people that basically were very thankful to him for what he was offering. And so he decided that that's what he wanted to do for a living. He quit his job in finance, and one thing led to another, and Khan Academy was formed. When we were formed, and this is actually an important one because, some of things are not going to change regardless of whether you're in a completely physical or a completely digital or some sort of a hybrid world. Our founding tenets, our pedagogy. There are 3 major sort of legs to the stool, if you will. One is that we believe that every child should attain mastery of whatever it is that the child is learning. Now, there may be different children that will take different amount of time to get to that mastery, but we believe that the goal should always be fixed. The time to get to the goal should be variable, as opposed to the current education system where the time is actually fixed and the goals tend to vary anywhere from 35% to 100%. And so that was definitely a founding precept for us.
This is a very, very important point, that goals are more important than just fixing time.
Absolutely.
And education should evolve organically and not should be so structured that thinking is regimented. It
Absolutely.
should be growing organically. Thank you. Please continue, sir.
Yeah, and to the other part of that was the personalization. I may take a different amount of time to get to mastery versus you, Dr. Chowdhury, versus you, Dr. Ray. It may be all of us have a different sort of path that we basically take towards mastery, and all of us will have a different amount of time that we take, maybe a different path that we might take to attain that mastery. And you need a system that enables that. And if you want to do this for a large number of people, then you need a system that enables that at scale. The third thing that we basically really believe in is the growth mindset. So if you've heard of Dr. Carol Dweck's book, basically called Mindset, essentially it talks at length about this concept. But essentially what it is a fundamental belief that the only thing that separates you from anything you need to master is time and effort. And if you actually believe that, you are way more likely to get closer to your mastery goals versus if you didn't believe that. If you felt that if you have what is called as a fixed mindset, that this is how I was born, these are the abilities I'm born with, and whether it's a blessing or a curse, that's all I can ever be, then you're not likely to move as far as someone who believes that my abilities are elastic, and the elastic can be stretched as much as the efforts I put in and the time that I put in. And so there's a lot of mechanics that we actually have. Like this isn't just a nice, soft, fluffy, nice sounding, nice feeling theory. For us, it's actually hard features that are there in this tool that we've created. So we've gone ahead and created a website that has a couple of very unique features to it. One, it's a website that offers very, very good content. So the content creators that I've seen, I've worked in my career with a lot of content creators from a lot of publishers. The kind of content creators I'm working with right now at Khan Academy, I can say unhesitantly are head and shoulders above anything I've ever seen before. In terms of the clarity of the concepts that they are teaching, their creativity in basically getting those concepts across, and their articulateness in the way they would teach. So Sal Khan is sort of obviously our role model, but then there's a small sort of group of people that work over here that sort of have very similar attributes to him in the way that they teach. And the second sort of, so there's the content, and there's a really good content, and there's a second part of it, which is that we have a fundamental belief that anyone anywhere should be entitled to a free education, to a free world-class education. And so, that's something that is an important thing, which is we will never charge for this content that we are providing. We have, in our daily work, we'll hear some amazing stories every day around people that are in prison, that are trying to remake their life before they release, so that they are trying to get an education, so that when they get out there, they can remake their life. We hear about we'll hear about schools in the slums of Dharavi in Mumbai, where Teach for India fellows are using Khan Academy to teach. And at the same time, we'll hear about, in your mind, think about the 2 or 3 top schools in this country. And I've been to those schools. I've actually trained teachers at those schools, and they are using it too. So you've got the entire spectrum of humanity actually accessing this content and using it. And essentially what it becomes then is like a real sort of a leveler of the playing field, if you will, when it comes to education. And obviously it's an online resource. So we obviously, the role that we will usually find ourselves playing is a support role to a teacher in a physical classroom. So teachers will usually teach what they have to teach, and they will basically use Khan Academy as some sort of a worksheet, where they'll basically they'll assign exercises to their students, and the students will basically go and do it either in a school lab, or if it's given as homework, they can basically go home and do it. Either ways, they can, from anyone, anywhere who has access to a device with some sort of an internet connection has access to everything that Khan Academy has to offer for free, is the way this works. Coming to the second part of your question, sir, about how we see sort of things playing out going forward. As I said, we've been playing a support role so far, and we will continue to play a support role, but it'll be a much more dominant support role the way I see it. Where I see 2 major trends coming out from all of the conversations we are having, because we work with schools around the country, mostly government schools, mostly dealing with sort of the bottom of the pyramid. And the 2 trends that we are seeing right now is, as you rightly pointed out, that the needs are going to be a couple of things. One, this is likely going to be a very truncated academic year. You're not going to have the same number of working days as you did last year, which means that you're going to have to basically fit more stuff into less time. Second thing that's likely to happen is that because of that, you're probably not going to complete your syllabus, which is obviously that golden pinnacle that every teacher unfortunately has to work towards in an Indian schooling system. You're probably going to have some sort of a truncated syllabus that you're probably working towards, and you might have to do some sort of a triage. You might have to do some prioritization to say, these are things that are important in the long run. We are going to basically continue to teach these, and here are things that are probably not going to be that important going forward. So it's all right to drop these things, and you probably will have to do that. On both of those things, Khan Academy can help, and we are actually putting together systems to help with that, which is we are looking at how we can help a teacher if you've got like this kind of a Zoom experience that teachers are using to teach. Then there's a synchronous teaching time where teachers looking at her students and teaching, and then there's a whole lot of asynchronous time where the kids are sort of not in this kind of a online classroom. And we are looking at mechanics where a teacher can offload a lot of the teaching from the synchronous to the asynchronous part of things. So that is one thing that we're looking at. And second thing that we're planning to help out with more is with that prioritization. So you can actually figure out with little to no effort on the part of the teacher or the administrators, what are the things that at a grade 5, at a grade 6, at a grade 7, at a grade 8 level, you must teach, and what are the things that you have the luxury of sort of putting, on the back burner. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Before we invite questions from our principals for the two speakers, I will just share a few concepts and ideas, and then I request everyone to ask questions to the two speakers. And Chancellor Sir would have to leave in 30 minutes, so I would expect the questions to be discussed just now. Uh, but before that, a few observations. First, I'm taking cue from the two earlier speakers. Pre-COVID and post-COVID shall be as important as it was for pre-Google and post-Google times. So post-COVID is never going to be equal to pre-COVID. December 2020 shall never be what December 2019 was. So let's come to this reality. So we are not looking at a temporary phenomenon. It's a permanent phenomenon. The disease impact of it may be reduced, but the impact on life will be something qualitatively different. What demonetization did to fintech, COVID-19 is actually doing to edutech, and that's a reality that we have to face. Second, I've already told the education ahead is blended education, hybrid education, or if you may allow me, physical education, physical plus digital. Third, this is not an aberration, this is a new normal. Aberration in the sense of health, yes, health challenge, economic challenge, a major economic challenge, no doubt, but this is new normal. And here, we have to move to a new era of digital mentors and digital learners. So teachers and digital mentors are very, very different. Teachers teach in classroom. Digital mentors teach across, within and across classroom. It could be anywhere and everywhere. So this is another point that one has to understand, that digital mentors should be a different ball game than what it was the teachers earlier. Also, a teacher teaches from his knowledge and with his content. A digital mentor aggregates content from any and many places. It could be from Khan Academy's videos, as has been told very well, or could be from any other YouTube sources, could be from many education online courses. We are doing a large number of course era courses, and we have made it even available to those students who have not yet joined the university, who are yet to join the university, even for them. So Coursera courses, because the higher education, so we are at university level. So this a mentor would be aggregating podcasts, videos, PDFs, PPTs, case studies, links, and also his own video, his own way of looking at things, and would be sending in advance. If teachers also start doing in the school the same thing, before the topic is taken up, suppose the topic comes, whatever, let's say atomic theory. Atomic theory comes up on Monday. If you share the content, aggregated content, including your own PPT and video, if you share by Friday and ask the students to actually learn them by themselves one round and come with questions to the classroom, the learning is far better, far engaged, and far involved. This is called flipped classroom. This started long back in the management schools of the world. This has to start now in the schools as well, not only university schools, I'm talking of schools, K-12 as well. So that's another point. Digital mentors, one part. The digital mentor is also an agony uncle and an agony aunt. Is a reference point for a learner at every point. And the digital mentor should be mentally ready to answer WhatsApp calls every time, or WhatsApp messages at least, if not calls. A digital learner is a different ballgame. The earlier the student was learning in the classroom. For digital learners, classroom is one source of learning, but not the exclusive source. Inside and beyond the classroom, from various sources, from mentors, from industry practitioners, from their own peers, from experience, and from internet. So I call the new era, even in schools, will require experiential, brick and portal, experiential, learning by doing, brick and mortar, classroom and library, and click and portal, learning through the internet. So these three have to be married together, and that's the physical education, that's the blended education of tomorrow. Yes, all of these digital mentors and learners have to have Wi-Fi, laptop, this smartphone with net connection. They have to become social media persona, and they have to be mentally open to learn from every quarter. Just now we are learning from one another that we are talking here. Sessions could be on video, sessions could be on Zoom, go to webinar live, Google Class, and sessions could be face to face. And we have to learn to be comfortable. Scanning the book and reading the book is not online classroom. Unfortunately, many schools are doing that in many parts of the country. So scanning the book may be one of the resources if the student doesn't have the book. But that's not actually classroom. Classroom is more for doubt clearing and discussion and debates. Sports, lab, studio, but also I must also tell, even in studio and labs, there are ways and means of actually creating virtual labs. So virtual labs, O labs, CBSE has started O labs, which is for virtual practice of studio laboratory. And then virtual studios are there, which gives almost a simulated and a very close experience of a laboratory or studio. And that almost completes 60% of the learning that you require in the studio. And the last 40% can be done physically when you are actually in the physical laboratory. FB timeline, WhatsApp group also have become tools of learning. Every timeline, FB, Facebook timeline is a creative work podium. People are uploading their creative work. It has become a notice board. The Instagram is a creative work, visuals and videos, and WhatsApp group is another notice board and sharing of content. So we have to be open to social media to make use of it in a the social media and online etiquettes, communication skills online. This would be very crucial in times to come. Yes, what university support can be? We are a university. We can support under the vision of our chancellor who is here at this point of time. We are already planning to devote a few of our extra hours, excess hours to helping our infrastructure to help youngsters from government schools, particularly our higher secondary schools and colleges in the vicinity, to give them a digital experience. We are planning to have digital training for the trainers because teachers first need them to be trained. We are also planning, we have introduced a channel, and there are many university schools principals here who are from Bengal. Chetana.tv, CHETAN, Chetana.tv. And it will become a ground channel in another 1.5, 2 months. And this channel is bringing to you the content, learning content, what it's in the video format, which can be seen, learned, and also can be accessed, as Vipul Redey has rightly said, asynchronous education at your own time, at your own pace, and at your own convenience. So a person can access this education online as well through Chetana TV as well. We are making videos. We are planning to make videos on various topics of class 11 and 12 and share in particularly our local language, but we are in Bengal, so Bengali, so that our youngsters can benefit from them. These are some of the support systems that we can begin, and we understand that the nation needs a digital access movement. जैसा रोटी कपड़ा मकान शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य, 5 amenities everyone needs, and this is the 6th amenity now coming, digital access. Otherwise, there is a divided society, and this divided society will be further accentuated with digital divide. These are some of the initial thoughts that I would like to put forth. But we would now, I would hand over to Akram to coordinate the question answer sessions and also observations of all the principals. Thank you, Akram,
for enlightening again further to what Professor Ray and Professor Reddy shared. Excellent, actually. And now, couple of things. Uh, may I request all those principals, because you are also corona warriors, because if the doctors are shaping the world, like like helping the world, you are also shaping the world in a sense.
Allow me to quote my chancellor. Recently he sent a thought: doctors are saving the world, teachers are shaping the world. We are corona warriors.
So you are also playing an extraordinary role in it. So may I request all those who have not spoken so far, kindly share your views, or also if you have anything to ask to our eminent speakers who are with us, kindly. So yeah, you can raise your hand, then you can unmute and speak maybe. So that way we can be a little, yeah, Mr. Shambhunath Chakraborty. So if you can speak. Unmute and yeah, please.
Do you hear, please?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. Keep it within 1 to 2 minutes, sir, so that we can cover and.
Thank you very much for giving me the chance. So far as digital learning is concerned, in this hour of crisis, we are just toddlers in this area. Because the talks that are going on in this video conference were all centered around the students of the urban areas. And so far as the students of the rural areas are concerned, and the remotest areas, they are not acquainted with the use of digital platform, and many of them do not have the necessary gadgets to learn using this platform. And the second problem is socialization. In our country, if we have to go on with this mode of teaching and learning, there will be a problem in case of socialization, and this problem should also be taken into account, that the students get socialized and they come in contact with their teachers and school, with their friends, and they do not have to spend their days remaining isolated. And for this, I was studying different the education system that is going on in different countries, which are very affected with this corona virus. And in France, you must have heard that students were permitted to attend classes, and 71 students got infected with the virus. Very recently, 2 or 3 days before, this incident occurred. And before entering into the school campus, some schools in foreign countries are using some kind of gadgets through which some kind of instruments through which a student has to pass, and while passing through a tunnel-like gate, their external everything are sanitized, and they even after being sanitized, they are allowed to go inside. This type of sanitization at the gate, just at the entry point, may be of use. And the first thing that we should remember, that the students must be allowed to come to school, and we have to find ways how they can come to school, keeping their safety and security intact.
Excellent. Nice point shared by you. Yeah, Mr. Majidur Rahman, sir, if you can unmute and then you can speak. Just unmute and then you can speak. If I can request my team also to unmute. You are already.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please.
Good evening, everyone. At first, thank you for inviting me. I want to share my views. From the very beginning of the lockdown, we have opened WhatsApp group, opened Facebook page. Not only that, we have been trying through Zoom apps, Google Meet apps, and contacted, and we have been trying to teach our students through the modern gadgets, but the all efforts are in vain. Most of our students are not have the gadgets, and you know very well that our school in the rural area, and most of our students are from the laborer family, poor families, and they are also fast learner. And our auditors are told this better. So, in the rural area, in the COVID time, we are helpless. Now we are trying to teach our students with the home tasks only. Our government ordered us to provide midday meal as like rice, potatoes. Along we are providing home tasks as Xerox mode along with the rice and potatoes. Otherwise, we feel helpless, and we are eagerly waiting. What will be the method to teach the students in the present situation? I am very thankful to you to give me the chance to take part in the meeting, and I have gathered so many experiences from the orators. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dhruv Jyoti Adhikari, you want to ask? So quickly, like Mr. Rahman, quickly if you can share your views and then question if you have, because Professor Ray is a little busy. I think he's there. Yeah, please.
No,
Hello.
I can suggest that there have been already some issues raised about how to handle this in rural or semi-urban areas and where access is limited. What can be the gradual progression in those areas, in those for those students? Can I request my Chancellor, Honorable Senate sir, to just give some ideas on how this problem can be sorted out with respect to rural and semi-urban India?
Yeah.
Yes, we can divide the problems or the observation in the different part. One observation, yes, online classes will not fulfill the true purpose of education 100%. If you consider the model of Shantiniketan, Rabindranath Tagore, and if you consider the spirit of education, which has been explained by the Rishu Aurobindo Ghosh. So every percentage, every prospect, because education is not only gather the knowledge and to earn a degree. Education try to develop is the mind and the association, leadership, everything. So we have to run side by side two systems. One system is the online, another systems the offline. There's no question of this thing. There's no doubt. Online systems cannot replace the whole purpose of the offline class, ideology of the institute, ideology of the school or the college. It's clear, number one. Number two, yes, if we consider the 80s or early of the 90s decade, there's the same problem was happened when the computer came into our the country also. You know it very well that within a 10 to 12 years, every person find the one computer training centers in every village and the urban area also. At the same thing, 90% of the employee of the State Bank of India was illiterate about the computers. But I think, yes, there's a question of the training. I think within 5 to 10 years, the 100% students and 100% faculty, that's one statistics is there. In the world, there now the number of professor and faculty is 6.30 crores. 1 crores is very much unable to take the classes on digital platform. Within the 1 course, 27 lakhs teachers or faculty is not efficient to take the classes on digital platform. This is the statistics. That is the data, right? So we have to make the plan, number one. Number two, yes, deficiency of the instrument. There's a lack of Android phone, lack of the 4G lines. Yes. After independence also, there's a lack of food in India. After independence, there's a lack of health systems of India. But with the help of the government, with the help of the private organization, we have to develop these things and we have to take the plan that the government will provide, like the bicycles, like the books on behalf of the government. Same thing, we have to take the program by the government, both central government, state government, they will provide the Android phone, they will develop the infrastructure. I think we have to sort it out one problem by one steps. So I think we can expect it will make the good result. And yes, within a short span of time, we will develop these things. But online education, and already explained by the Khan Academy persons, yes, there's no alternative way. So we have to make these things comfortable. Thank you.
Yeah, I completely agree that online and offline both have to come be blended together. And very well said that there is a starting point, and a starting point will be troublesome when it starts. And just as when television came, as you rightly said, initially the villages did not have television, and governments even actually put television in the panchayat rooms, and people used to see television from there. So gradually, even computers came to the panchayat rooms. Government gave desktops to many schools. Similarly, today, government is giving cycles to students, to girl students, particularly after class 10. Similarly, the government can also give what do you call pads and pods and tabs. Tabs can be given, and with the matter involved there, and a lower, particularly student package of telecom companies can come out with a student's package, which is cheaper. Only through identity card and a particularly RFID card, it can be accessed. So there has to be certain benefits. One. Second, 2.6% of the national budget is for education now, public education. If the government makes it 5%, and that is the truth in most of the developed countries. Public education is at least 5 or more percent. Even Bengal government has 5.1, Kerala government has 5.9, Delhi government has 26%, 26%, one fourth, even crossing that. 6.5% is in Tamil Nadu government. So if government of India puts 5% in education, this additional money can be put to have digital access in the government schools and colleges. So there could be many different ways, and we need to bring that up.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you, Mr. Vipul Redey, for your valuable information. Right?
Excuse me.
Right.
Excuse me, sir. Mr.
Yes,
Haq.
yes,
Mr. Haq.
yes,
Mr. Haq, sir, don't mind, please, okay? One thing I would like to make you to 45 minutes to start the program, okay? And after that, whatever you are talking, the things which already are existing, we are here to talk about the post-COVID scenario, isn't it? Please take a note of it. We have not joined merely as a listener. We have some solid points out of our own experience
yes,
to
please.
share with the people at large.
Dr. Agarwal, may I invite you to kindly now share your views?
Yeah, definitely. It took for 50 minutes time, and here 4 panelists are here because of my invitation, isn't it? And we are not interested. Whatever the thing is existing there. Please do not take it otherwise, isn't it? I am telling it with a due respect to the VC and all dignitaries actually. We are waiting for 50 minutes actually, again 1 and 2 minutes to wind up our discussion. I don't think this is the legitimate, the conduct of any such session. We have been conducting various sessions, sir.
May I now request you to kindly please share your views, because
definitely the topic which Adhikari sir, Durvajyoti Adhikar sir would like to speak because he was raising the hand, or should I continue?
So as you wish. So maybe if you finish,
because he was my colleague. He is my colleague. That's why it is my moral responsibility to ask him. And if
Agarwal sir, you can continue. Agarwal sir, you can continue.
Sir,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah,
then
thank you very much.
Agarwal sir.
Yeah, today
I would also like to say something. Agarwal
yes.
Sir. Yes, complete your.
After him, maybe. After him, Sinha sir, after Dr. Agarwal. Please go on.
Yes, sir. It is up to the anchor, actually, the moderator of the program, but I was not willing to.
Please share your view. Then
we are here to talk about the suggestions and the solutions about the future of the education. Right, sir? So here what we strongly believe, what the Professor Chowdhury has made a point regarding the blended teaching, we do absolutely agree to that. Face-to-face and online teaching will go hand to hand. There is no way out other than that. Different platforms to be explored. I'm not going for a detailed discussion. Some important points where I'm going to give the compliance of the statement made by earlier orators also here. That here comes a question of the reduced syllabus. So what we require to do, we need to focus on the competence-based learning instead of rote learning. And there is no point of getting apprehended regarding the reduction of the syllabus. Now we have to switch over our way of teaching, where threshold concept, that is the core concept, is to be focused instead of peripheral concept. We need to explain the concept among the children. Health and hygiene issues are going to be major concerns. Drinking water, at the same time cleanliness several times a day. At the same time, we need to teach our children how to do water conservation and how to save water. Sanitization of the campuses on regular way are going to be the challenging task. And here, what we expect from the government and the other companies, there should be better net connectivity. It should be faster, it should be cost effective, cheaper. Otherwise, what will happen if the entire country is not covered with the equal frequency of the net services? Then we cannot forget there are 9 lakh schools in the rural areas, and there are only 6 lakh schools in the urban areas. Need to focus on the health concerns and the sports as well. Out of the whatever the provision, we will be deciding in due course of time. Everybody is in dilemma. They are talking their mind, but still no direction, notification has come from the government. At present, the concept is many children, one teacher. Now, what is going to be? One child, many teachers. One Eklavya, many Dronacharya. There is no doubt about it. Many parents may not agree to send their children post-COVID, a matter of great concern. At present, the fee payment has become a major issue. But in my opinion, in time to come, the health issues will be, taking over all other issues, because school need to assure regarding the health issues to each and every child. All schools need to make this solidarity with their staff member, the actual challenges pertaining to the mindset of the people. And here we need to be computer savvy, and above that, the government notification undoubtedly. Best schools will be declared not out of their infrastructure. It will depend to what extent they are IT enabled, whether they are health enabled or not. And safety protocols will be given priority in order to judge or announcing one best school. Challenges ahead are transport of the children. Little kids, where the children below 10 years will not be allowed to come to the school. All need to be proactive, no doubt about it. Practical virtual classes, Professor Chowdhury has did the advocacy for that. We agree to it. Now, experiential learning and the collaborative learning are the two major things which we need to explore. It's time we need to redefine the rubrics of the assessment processes, and time is ahead. We need to define the entire education as a whole. In compliance to the earlier orator, I would like to make 2 points only, last 2 points. Out of the Mr. Vipul Reddy's version and the Dr. Chowdhury, they said regarding certain things, my indirect compliance to that, when we say syllabus is static, but world is dynamic. And we need to be proactive, because there will be 3 categories of the people ahead: early adopter, late adopter, and the laggers. Those who are the laggers will be losing the battle. So here, post-COVID period is full of unknown, full of uncertainty. So here, teachers are also learners who will create another learners. Teachers are also learners. They will be creating another learners. It is only, and the announcement of the Adamas University is sparing few hours extra time for helping the government school. Fine, we do appreciate that, isn't it? So more and more government principal and master should be called in this type of session. This is my one point. But the last point I would like to make, in future, actually, is whenever people are called, please keep the business concern aside, because it reduces the gravity, seriousness of the discussion. Actually, please do not take it otherwise. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing so many points, but half of you are already covered. And you all are eminent speakers. You all are responsibly handling schools. So you all are knowledgeable.
Akram, very good point brought by Dr. Agarwal is on the evaluation and assessment. We did not discuss the evaluation and assessment. That was an important point.
I want to come to Dr. SINHA. Dr. SINHA, if you can come in, because I want to give you more time. Because if you can unmute and talk. Shaileshwar Prasad Sinha sir, if you can unmute first.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So many points have been discussed. This blending mode of learning is now the requirement of the today, because
Sir,
our
if
Dr.
you
Agarwal
give
also
an
says so
additional
that
point, you can add, sir. So most of the points which are discussed,
you know,
let's not repeat because the other one would get angry, just like Dr. Agarwal. So if you have new points or
nothing
new
like that,
experiences to share,
because
please.
many
Not
of the
agree, sir.
many of
No,
the
he's not
points
agree,
Dr.
sir.
Yes. Many of the points have been discussed. That
Then
I
don't
again
repeat
will
them.
focus that with the
Points, please.
so because of the this online teaching, because of the COVID-19, the situation has changed from the classroom learning to the online learning. This is increasing the competency-based learning, where the project-based learning is giving emphasis. And one more point is also that the students are suffering here from the emotional as well as social issues also, that is because they are
Yes.
sitting at home and they are not getting contact, because that the children of these age groups, they want liberty to express their feel, they want emotions, interactions with their peer groups. So those things students are missing at home. So we have to also take care that how these students could be entertained by this, by having the different type of scholastic activities which can be done on the virtual classroom situations, so that the students could be benefited. Second thing is, I would like to say that the health concerns, as the Dr. Goy told also, that means this is a very big issue, and the parents as well as the students are very much scared. So the sanitization of the school as well as the school employees and students, whosoever will come visit the school, this is a big issue before us. And third point, I will say that was regarding the syllabus, and as the reduction of the that's it, from class 8 onwards, only the students can join the schools. So CBC has also recommended that 25% of the syllabus will be cut down. And as well, we are also planning that in the coming vacations, we will have also cut short the coming vacation also, and we can utilize Saturday and Sunday also in order to compensate the days which we have lost because of the COVID-19. So these are also the part of the planning. As well, there are so many portals that is by the CBSE, like the Diksha portals and the YouTube channels. NCRT is also giving the e-Pathshala and the Shyam by the NIS. And as one of my colleagues told that in the rural areas, there are so many problems. Of course, this is a very genuine problem. In the urban area, also problem is there, because in many families, from the same family, two or three students are studying in the schools, and at the home there is one mobile only. So the students are facing in attending the class. So this is also problem uh, which we are facing in these situations. And third point, I would like to say that once when the students will come to school, then the parents' support is required, so that the school can run everything smoothly, because everybody is scared regarding the corona. I know that how long these things will go. So everybody has to learn how to live in corona. So these are the
Thank you, sir. I think your internet is
points we can just share with all.
right. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share points? Yeah, Sharnendu, sir. Please go on. Unmute.
Good evening, all. Akram, let me thank all for giving me this opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please go on.
Okay.
Quickly, like
Yes, yes. Actually, from my experience on from 99, I am with this IT industry as well as with this academic institution. Whatever I am finding now, yes, life support system is not the actual life. What the thing is going on now, actually we are giving a life support system for the students to run the institutions, to run the schools. But actually, until this COVID-19 situation will be over, the students are coming to us with teachers as well as the students. No one is happy. But at this juncture, at this situation, we have to address breach as well as the situation is that online as well as offline, both the things should go together side by side. my suggestion is that if we start to attack what is not available in our villages, in rural villages also, I'm very sorry to share this thing. How many number of Android phones are available? If you check it, it is possible, because Android phones are used for Facebook or maybe for YouTube's in those places. But when we will start to utilize those things for our educational purpose, I think still possibility is there. But yes, it is a correct situation. At this very moment, situation is very bad. It is just like the earlier days of computer education, but others were not very much easily they have accepted it. But yes, the days are for this bridge between online as well as offline.
So we have three more speakers. Shukanta Ghosh sir. Uske baad Ratna Devi ma'am, I'll invite you, and then Jayanto Vishwas sir. I think then we'll almost cover all the speakers. Yeah. Unmute karke if you can speak. You unmute yourself first.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
A very good evening to all of you. Today, I'll just share my views regarding my experiences during the lockdown and the challenges that our teacher faced, and my suggestion to normalize a prevailing situation. Now, let me come up to the point regarding the activities as I experienced when our teachers implemented it. Our teachers plan a different teaching learning styles depending on different categories. For the education sector, we have to impart education in different ways. For the higher study, higher class learners will have their own inner chill to learn. They will definitely try to learn from different angles. But for the high schools up to secondary stage, we have to think and plan very effectively before transiting to lessons. So during this lockdown period, our teachers are designing different teaching learning styles depending on different categories up to middle class levels. They are designing activity-based learning, and they are asking our students to do something. Or say, let me say, stop here. If we go in detail, then it will be very long. And then for the higher secondary sections, our teachers are trying to complete a portion of the syllabus. So it is badly exam-oriented, say, class. And again, the challenges and the problems are also there in the midst of conducting the online classes. And mostly these online classes, say, that we have these days is only by creating WhatsApp groups, right? So,
Right.
so when our teachers start having such online classes only through WhatsApp groups, they have many problems, as they say that they cannot control or they are not sure whether the students are completely participating in the teaching learning process. And they also say that they cannot look after the individual differences of a particular class, and they cannot diagnose the learning difficulties of the learners. So these are the challenges. And again, there is a shortage of parents' involvement in the online classes. So this is the main problem that we face.
I
So
understand.
as a suggestion from my side is that if our teachers can get more favorable attitudes from the society for this online class, and encouragement, motivation from the parents and their involvement in this online class, if our teachers are getting more encouragement from these sectors, then our teachers can do wonders. They can contribute a lot of things for the effectiveness of this online class.
Right. Thank
And
you.
as we know that this situation is going to be, say, continue for a long time. So in the beginning, such type of online can seem awkward, inconvenient for all of us, but it has been normalized. Now we don't feel anything when we try to conduct the online classes. It has become normalized.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Shukanta Ghosh. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening, everyone, once again. Actually,
I think, in this situation, parents and the students are not going to listen, unless and until government comes out with a clear-cut instruction what is to be done. Government is sending, instructions, at different time. We'll have 100-day schools, 30% attendance, these, that. And on 14th May also, I saw CBSE sending a circular that you have to, include art education, 2 periods every day. Otherwise, you will not be able to download the admit cards. I don't understand what is going on. When we have 100 days class, they are putting so much emphasis on all these, instead of giving us a solution, what is to be done, and how to deal with this type of situation, and different schools are having different problems. And even most of the government schools and even some private schools don't have the necessary infrastructure, right? And after this Amphan, most of the government schools, are full. Students, even if they have declared till 30th June, school will be closed, and from 1st July, they will not be able to start the schooling. Now we have our own solution. Now this is the right time. State government and central government, they should come forward, and HRD department, I don't know, with a clear-cut solution what is to be done. And then only the parents, will accept this online teaching, very, happily. Otherwise, some parents are saying that we are running online classes only to collect fees. This is ridiculous. Why they are going to listen to you or me? Because, I represent some school, you represent some institution. They think we have our own vested interest, and the service that we have given for so many years, they are not considering this. Some people are talking ill about, this the teachers and the institutions, and they are getting, carried away, and they are not, talking good about this. So the first and foremost thing is that the parents, because they will have to take part, actively, in this online process. Because if there are 100 days classes, and rest of the days we give online backup, whatever mode, then the parents should be there, doing our job, that you are talking about home tutoring and all, that has to be, looked into. I think so.
Thank you. Dr. Jayanto Biswas, sir, final speaker of the day. Then maybe I'll just reflect upon. Yeah, please.
Good evening, everyone. Already we have discussed that many things we are using for online classes. We are using Snap, Homework, WhatsApp group. We are having online classes from Google Meet. Also, we have our YouTube channel where the students can, in any time, they can go there and see the recorded classes. But the real problem is that the students are not coming in the school. They are not having interaction with their friends. So, we for that certain curricular activities and other competitions are also being held. Already we had some programs for on Ravindra Jayanti, there were cultural programs, virtual cultural programs held by the students. And last week we had a session of counseling for our class 12 students. As class 12, most of the exams are over, only two exams like BST and Henry is left for our students, and students are demotivated, right? This is the time when already the CBSE board exams results are out, so they are anxious about their future. So we are also holding a few counseling sessions for our students, and also counseling sessions for our parents also, that we have to motivate them that they should be coming there for online classes, and they should allow their wards to attend the classes regularly. Sometimes we find that number of students attending the classes are very less. So repeatedly we are encouraging and we are counseling the parents also, that so that my students can be motivated to attend maximum classes. But the real problem right now that will be coming, already we are not having any clear-cut instruction from any either board or government that how many class, when the school will reopen, what will happen. Already we are seeing through newspapers that half of the students will allow it. So gradually, I think we have to adapt to the situation, and we all have to take care that by how we can educate the students by keeping their health intact. Because right now, I think already some speakers have told that health will be a real issue, because now the ratio of corona cases is day by day increasing in our country. So basically, first of all, we have to take care of the health, and after that only we can start our school and everything. So till then, I think online classes are the only remedies, only option which are available to us. And after when schools are reopened, we have to blend online classes with our day-to-day classes. Only then we can complete the syllabus and we can give a proper education to students. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to thank you so much. You all are important people. You have a lot of things to share, and I'm really happy. But I think I have been a teacher, I have been a student, I have been a journalist, I have been one of the policymakers, advisors, and all. There are three things I want to say because you all are nurturing talents. There are three qualities if your student do not possess, even you do not possess or we do not possess, we are not well educated, we are not actually imparting the right skill. Number one, civility. If you don't learn civility, if your students don't learn civility, if they are corrupt after passing out, having high degree from colleges and schools, if they are corrupt or become the corrupt system, your education is a pure waste. If you don't impart skills, you can't blame colleges to impart skills. Skills has to start with every school. 80% students drop out from schools from 9, 10, 11, 12. You have to take the responsibility and honors to impart skills beyond knowledge, because now what Dr. Ray said, that you are only imparting knowledge, nothing else. You're just giving them knowledge. So in America, a 8th class student goes to school and he decides what he will learn. He decides what kind of question he will answer. So he decides the question. At the end of the week, he writes the question himself. So throughout the week, he decides what he will study during that week. He decides what question he will write the paper on, and then he answers, he submits it to his principal. The principal throughout the week only guides the student that if he needs a glass of water, if he needs any help, just ask me. The principal or the teacher is just a guide. The third important skill that you have to impart to your students is adaptability. This is a crisis, and your real education would depend on how your students are adaptable to cope up with the situation. Now, may I request Vipul to kindly reflect upon the entire discussion, and Professor Chowdhury may like to conclude.
Sure. So there were some, I think, very valid points that were brought up. So I think first was a question of infrastructure, and I think that's a very, very valid point. The United Nations thinks of access to the internet as a basic human right, and that hasn't really played out, to the level that you would have expected when it is a basic human right in a country like India. So when we, for example, at Khan Academy, our experience has been that when we go and talk to schools, you're absolutely right, sir, that we've basically seen a lot of that's literally our number one roadblock: access to devices, access to internet access. Are things that fall short. My sense is that, like you said, I think the point was made earlier that there were no telephones at one point in time, and now telephones are ubiquitous. My sense is that we will get there, and all projections sort of point in that direction. And so I'm going to basically stay very hopeful that is exactly what's going to happen. It's not something that is within my power right now, so I will not basically spend too much time on this. But it is definitely something that seems to be moving in the right direction, if not at a rate that would make all of us happy. There was, I think, again, a very valid point that you brought up, Mr. Biswas, around motivation. And I think, especially when you're sitting in a silo of your home and looking at a screen. I have a daughter who's basically, going to school on the internet right now. And that seems to be like a big issue that she seems to be facing, that she just sits at home, she stares at a screen, her entire education is coming from a screen, and her entire sort of socialization, whatever little socialization there is from looking at her classmates in a session that's not very different than the one we are in right now. And that does become a little bit of an issue. Now, there's a lot of online players that have tried to basically figure this part out. So if you were to actually look at online gaming, why is it that people basically go into online gaming and stay on it for extended periods of time? That's because there's a lot of gamification mechanics that have been perfected by the gaming industry that keeps you sort of motivated, keeps you engaged, keeps you sort of at the edge of your seat when you're working through these gaming scenarios. And it should not be that different in education. At Khan Academy, we've tried to put some of these, so things like badges, things like energy points, etc. And there's like, I mean, we are not unique in that sense. There's a lot of other online players that are using very similar mechanics to engage kids and basically keep them going. And it works. You know, to you and me as adults, it might look flaky, but it works like magic with the younger set. There was a point that was, again, a very valid point brought up about assessments. And I'm going to basically extend that point to diagnostics. When you're a teacher in a physical classroom, your way of doing diagnostics more often than not, at least the way classrooms in India work, are that you basically look into the child's eye and you're able to see whether the child is engaged or not. You know whether the child is lost or whether the child is kind of at least getting a sense of what you're trying to teach. When you're in a session that's like this, it's a lot harder. And so I think one of the things that's going to happen, and as you talked about Dr. Chowdhury earlier on, that this is for keeps. My hope is that this one sort of dynamic comes in for keeps, where teachers start to use hard data to basically instruct their teaching. You know, what is it that you need to teach? Who is it that you need to teach to? And what is it that you can use to teach that concept to that student that needs your help? You know, all of these are things that, again, online platforms can help you to basically get data around, hard data around, and actually reacting to that data would be really helpful.
Thank you. I think awesome. Brilliant. I saw your cute daughter disturbing you at the back, and then you were handling.
Yeah, to do some emotional blackmail to send her out. So sorry about that.
It often happens at my home with my daughter. Professor Chowdhury, your concluding remarks, and then maybe I'll just request.
Actually, a lot of ideas have already been discussed, and I appreciate the variety of content and personal experiences of the principles which have been brought here concretely. And I really also consider that moving ahead, being on digital or having an Android phone or having a laptop will be as ubiquitous, as has been told by Mr. Reddy, as having a television in most houses, as having a telephone connection in some way or the other in most houses. Hardly rich, poor, middle class, everyone now has a telephone. All may not be smartphone, but they are also moving towards smartphones. So yes, I understand there is a period of transition. Then there will be some discontent, some frustration, and some confusion. All when the computers were introduced in the banks, there was a lot of frustration. The nation went, the banking industry went for a 7-day strike that did not stop the banks to be computerized. So it's a question of time, and already in 2 months' time, people have become quite smart, even in rural India, quite smart, and people have understood and found their own solutions. Where there was no smartphone, teachers are calling up each student. In the class teacher is calling up for 5 to 10 minutes talking to each student and trying to give some guidelines.
Right.
So the minimum thing. The post-COVID years, there was a question that this is more discussion on post-COVID. First of all, in my opinion, every school should develop a sort of a manual of what do's and don'ts should be in post-COVID situation when the campus opens up. There are some schools which have done, and I have already shared it in the WhatsApp groups, and maybe they can be shared with the principals here. Schools, these are schools of different parts of the country. They have developed some initial document which can be shared, because all may not be, they should be customized to each school, but there can be good guidelines. We have done at our university also. AU combats COVID, first university in Eastern India to come out with a document like that. So we need to have the document. That's one. Second, distancing will be a reality. Physical distancing will be a reality. Coming 100 days is one. Maintaining distances between students is another. So therefore, please, we have to move to OLabs. CBSE has already put on their website links of OLabs. And some principal is also mentioned about.
Already covered, Mr. Chowdhury, yeah. So new points if you have any, and then maybe.
So we need to go into this sort of newer concepts to bring about the blended learning in future. Thank you.
Absolutely. So two requests. So we have organized around 20 sessions with 200 school principals, and I think today's one was one of the most enriched with a lot of content coming from 3 eminent experts that we had, also from almost all our speakers. So what I would request that this is one of many such exercises that we are organizing to educate and to bring awareness and also to find out new solutions to the current challenges we are facing. And I think through only discussion like this, we can come out with some concrete conclusions. Two requests. So we also create a WhatsApp group so that 200 or 300 principals we can discuss and talk. So if you are interested or okay with that, we'd be very happy to make you part of the group where we discuss about all the education related issues. The second is we will come up with a very special magazine, a digital magazine on education, and where we will be covering very innovative articles from different school professors or principals. If you would be if you would like, kindly write an article of about 500 to 800 words. We will be very happy to publish with your photo, with your name, and your article will be part of our website or would be also part of the special magazine that we would come up with. So thank you so much for being for this wonderful show. Though there was a little hiccup with Dr. Agarwal, I hope Dr. Agarwal you are okay now, and we will be in touch with you. Don't worry, we are not going to leave you.
Thank you,
And all the knowledge that you have, we will start it from you. Don't worry, we will suck all your knowledge.
Mr. Haq, Mr. Haq, actually.
Yes, your internet is now in trouble. Don't worry, we will suck your knowledge. Thank you so much for being part of this show. Yeah.
Thank you.